the News from the Real World podcast.
Yeah, we should talk about some podcast things.
Nice.
Wait,
you all caught up?
Are we missing one?
I think we're missing someone. Where is she?
I don't.
I wonder.
Hey guys!
Oh, hey, Eleanor.
What's up?
Thanks for
Hey.
joining.
Yeah, man. It's in the middle, huh? God, I just love it when we hang out and we get to like talk about articles.
Yeah,
So
and
good.
have these conversations. They're
Great.
great.
So, what do you want to kick it off with today? What do we
Oh,
got?
wow. What about that article about the August Osage County set? Why don't you take it away?
Yeah,
What did
yeah.
you think of that?
I loved that article. I mean, I'd been involved in a production of August Osage County, so it was like fascinating to see like another production. Like basically, it was like had this picture and it had kind of everything in the set of August Osage County at this production at the Zach Theatre in Austin, and then like how much everything cost, and it was like $800 on food for the run, and like $500 for breakable plates, and
all those dinner sequences.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to keep
Eat
doing
your
everything.
fish.
Eat your freaking fish, so and so.
So she throws the plate. Yeah. So what do you guys think of it?
Well, what struck me is how little the actors make in comparison to everything else.
I thought it was really interesting
Yeah.
how little the non-ec actors made compared to the equity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a
no,
huge difference.
that's pretty common. The locals, $75 to $200 a week.
But even
Yeah.
the like equity actors is like less than $300 a week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean that's
I
it's
don't know how
not a
you live.
living wage, right?
No, imagine you get that regional job and you come from New York and you still are paying your New York apartment, although I'm sure they
God.
put you up. But I don't even think they get per diem. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Crazy.
Terrible.
That sucks.
I thought it was really interesting how they had to build the second level dressing room for
Mhm.
the one actress that they brought in. I don't remember who it was. I
Yeah.
probably should. Who had difficulty walking because she had polio. I
Yeah.
thought it was really
Yeah.
interesting that like they were so worried about the money on this production, but that they would make that expense
Yeah.
to get this actress that they wanted.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like that's the pivotal role, like Violet
I
Weston.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
The production's gonna like live or die.
The
or
mom
whatever
is, yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And I imagine someone with that disability would be really great in that part.
Yeah.
You know? Be really wonderful. You know, kind of.
So, does
Around
it
the
take a
house.
lot of money to make good theatre? What do you guys think?
No, not at all.
I think it depends on what your goal is.
Yeah.
If you want it to be super flashy and full of special effects, then you gotta put the money into it, or it's
Yeah.
not bad.
But it's just fact that it's going to cost a fair bit of money to put on August Osage County because it's got
Absolutely.
13 actors in it. And
Wow,
like,
big cast,
yeah,
and you
so-
you have to create a whole house on
Yeah.
stage.
totally.
Yeah.
There was an interesting comment from Zoe W. on this question of like how much money it takes to make good art. If we can do a show on a smaller, more reasonable budget, then why not do that? Let's try to tell stories in creative ways, not just boast about the amount of money we spend on them or the coolest effect we can do.
Did you think they were boasting about the amount of money they spent?
I was actually kind
It's
of wondering
pretty
why they
low
put
end,
the article out
yeah.
there.
It was
Like,
more like
most
this
theaters
is what
don't-
it all
Most
costs.
theaters don't want you to know how much that they spend on each
Yeah.
individual.
I didn't think they were boasting. I thought it was just like here's like a really interesting
Here's our
insight
budget.
into
Yeah.
like how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Where
did.
did that one come from?
That was from I didn't write it down this week. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
It was,
It's
no,
from
it was an
Anonymous.
editor. No, it was from American Theatre Magazine.
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Nice.
and it was an editor pick. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Cool.
Excellent.
Well, you know, this next one, actually, I should consult my notes here. This article took my attention immediately when I was
Yeah.
looking through the lineup this week. I went ahead and read it when I saw the lineup,
Yeah.
you know, instead of waiting till, Thursday or Friday. Yeah.
You actually
Enjoy.
wanted to read
I
it.
wanted
Wow.
No, I like it. I enjoy reading the articles. But
Yeah.
this one, I guess this article's been around. This happened
This is
5 years
It's a
ago.
really old
It's
article.
from
Yeah.
The Guardian.
Yeah.
TheGuardian.com by Damian Pierce, and it's a student pick titled "Actor Slits His Own Throat as Knife Switch Turns Fiction into Reality." Ooh. So basically, this actor, David Hovels, they're doing this Viennese production at the Berg Theater of Mary Stuart, and his character slices his own neck at the end of the play, and I guess they had a real knife instead of a prop knife one night in its place, and he just barely missed his carotid artery, so he didn't bleed to death, and he turned out fine. But they stitched him up, and he was back for Sunday's performance. Frightening.
Yeah.
And they don't know. There's all rumors. Was it foul play? Did
Yeah.
somebody switch the knife? And what they think happened was that because the knife still had like a price tag on it, it had just come from the shop, and the props master had forgotten to blunt the edge.
I loved
That's
all the like
scary.
accusations of like, ooh,
Yeah.
somebody's out to get him in the production, and what a good way to like murder somebody. Honestly,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah,
like
it's
it.
true.
Not that I, just storing
We've
that away for
plotted
future
this.
reference. Yeah.
Just for good measure, the article was really, really overdramatic. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy only ended up needing like 2 stitches
Yeah.
to close this wound, but they're like, oh, he was gushing blood on stage, and like, he really wasn't. Like, yeah, he slit his own throat, but like, he didn't
Yeah.
slit his own throat.
And I went and read a couple of other articles about this, and it did say subsequently the theatre came out and said exactly that. It was like a stage manager who had bought a new knife and hadn't blunted the knife. But
Oh, stage
Well,
always,
manager.
always check those things.
bad
Yeah.
stage
Oh,
management,
Oh,
right?
awful
Yeah.
stage
Bad
management.
management.
God, we did Sweeney Todd here 2 years ago, and every night I was the ASM. I didn't care what else was going on. I checked the razors
Ways.
every night to make sure nothing
Absolutely.
happened.
Yeah.
Because even those things just wear over time, they get nicks in them, and that can cut your skin too, just on accident, even
Yeah.
if it is blunted. So like,
Totally.
that is the number one thing you check when you have weapons on stage.
Totally.
Well, you know what Becky Lou writes? She writes, "This is insane. Why wasn't the knife checked before it was put on stage?" Exactly.
Legitimate.
If you had been the stage manager, Jess, no one's throat would have been slit.
And it's Europe. They've got so much money. They've got ASMs up the
and it's
wazoo.
Viennese theater.
Yeah.
Doing a full production of Mary Stuart. That's money.
Check your
Yeah.
knives.
Check your
Props.
knives.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awful.
More stage management for this next one.
More stage
Yeah.
management.
Up to you.
This article is about radios used by the tech team. It's from, where's it from? ProSoundWeb.com by Mike Sessler. The value of radios for the tech team. Basically, this guy was working at a church, and he's like, oh, I'll never need radios. We have comm. What do I need radios for? And then he got into production. He's like, I can never talk to anybody because no one's ever on comm.
Yeah.
So we went out and he bought radios. He's like, oh, this is the best thing ever. And every single student comment was basically like, yeah, radios are super useful. I've never used them. And I was like, oh, guys, come on. Like, delve into this a little more. But it's, like, we've used radios all the time here now. We got this brand new set of radios that are gorgeous over the summer for use in the warehouse. And I know I'd never used radios here before. We always just screamed at each other across the stage. But now, like, having a radio, I can get in touch with anyone in Carnegie Scenic whenever I needed to on the last show I did.
So what is the difference between radio and comms?
The comms, you have to have the comm headset on your head, and you can't really walk out of the theater. You're either hardwired into something, or you can't go out because you go out of range of the base station, and then it gets all crackly and staticky, and you can't hear anything.
Okay.
So like, we can't have someone on comm in Carnegie Scenic in case something goes wrong. We have to call them on their cell phone. Hey, come down. There's an emergency.
Okay.
I mean, which we've done before. I've texted people during tech before from my phone, being like, "Hey, we need you on stage right now," while we're doing other things.
Yeah.
It's just so much easier to be able to grab the radio and
Right.
like have the microphone or an earpiece in and just be like, hey, come down, and they're right there.
I mean, it's what cops use.
Exactly.
And so that's like on a channel, and
Yeah.
everyone's on that channel.
Yeah, I think our
Yeah.
radios have like 8 channels or something like that, and then different department can be on a different channel and you can swap back and forth.
Genius.
We have earpieces. We use those for Alice at Bed in the
Mhm.
warehouse recently, so that the crew could have them instead of comm, they had an earpiece in their ear. Or we have, they're called biscuits. They're like little microphones that live right on your shirt collar, and you just talk into it.
Yeah.
Pretty useful.
Very cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. The last show I did, we used. I'm asking you what's the difference between radio and comms. Last show I did, we had radios because it was like site specific, and it was like in the car park across 3 stories, and we had 3
Yeah.
sets of
Communication was
audience
very
groups.
key.
Yeah, well, we had 3 sets of audience groups, and they would rotate between the scenes, and we had to time the start and end of each one like perfectly. So there was like an ASM in each each audience group, and they're like, okay, you can release them into this next phase of the thing. And so yeah, radio is essential.
Yeah, and they're awesome for found spaces, like you were saying.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have a comm run, and that's
No.
going to be really expensive to rent
Yeah.
and run for found spaces.
Yeah, totally.
Well, do you have any comments? Anybody have anything to say
All
about
of the
that?
comments were just people saying, I didn't think these would be useful, and then I used them, and they were useful. There were like 16 comments of,
Are they not?
Everyone's saying
Are they
the
not
same thing.
something that people use in like theatre
I think-
normally?
Like radios and the idea of radios have been around for a long time,
Yeah.
but I guess no one has really used them in theater before, which is kind of strange to me.
What's the cost?
I honestly I have no idea what the cost is.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
I imagine it can't be the same as a cost for a comm system.
What do they
Yeah.
use
to
in
run all
regional
that?
theatre or Broadway comms?
Comms.
Okay, because they're kind of all set
Yeah,
up
they're all in the
already.
same room.
and- yeah,
Right, right.
interesting.
Oh,
Very cool.
should we end this segment?
All right.
All right,
Yeah.
let's end it.
Yeah.
All right,
Go
let's
for
end
it.
this. All right, this is the end of the segment.
Thanks.
Come back for the next one, ladies.
I'll be here.
All right, I'm gonna go.
All right. Okay. See ya.
Bye.
This new way is so weird.
I always feel like that was awful. Never do that again.
The next show, they make
Do you like it, Bowman?